You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene. I'm Wole, and I'm joined by my guy, my main dude, Ray Jeezy. What's going on, Ray?
I'm chilling, brother. I'm sitting back while I'm watching Commanderland still struggle with the ending of that game last week. So hopefully you moved on. You kind of went off in the post game, like you got yourself in a solo screen and then went off. So maybe you woosah now, bro. Like it's okay. A W's a W, but this is the one you want right here.
Yeah, I'm pretty calm. Yeah, but this is definitely the one that this team I want, and this team should desperately want as well. You can check us out on our website, which is www.urbansportscene.com. Before we talk about the Commanders, let's hit on some logistics. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Make sure you subscribe to the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. If you're on this Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel right now, hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene, and also like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page.
Hey, also join the Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Just search Urban Sports Scene, sports podcasters, sports bloggers, and sports debates. And also, check out our weekly NFL picks at www.footballgarbagetime.com. Shout out to those guys. It's still not going well. I picked Denver last night. So it's fun, but I'm not doing so well.
Hey, bro, I didn't even make the pick last night. That's how.
Yeah, I've done that several times, even though
I'm not going to even lie.
That's where we are right now. Footballgarbagetime.com. Every season, the Urban Sports Scene competes against Football Garbage Time in the weekly pick'em challenge. And it's been dope. George is part of that crew. George Templeton, who's also on All Burgundy Go everything with Urban Sports Scene. Yeah, it's dope. But check him out.
Hey, much love for him. I apologize for not making my pick. I think I just got
it. Happens.
It just happens. Anyway, man, let's get into our tradition, the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Commanders reporter Donna Hopkins will join us to talk about the Commanders' upcoming game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are the division leaders in the NFC East. So, yeah, she'll be pulling up. So, before we let me play this little B-roll of Donna, because I do want to hype Donna, because Donna's one of my favorite folks out here. She knows. Donna knows. As you can see, this is Miss Donna Hopkins doing it big. Amazing. She's so dope. Let me pull this into, actually, because I'm kind of messing up right now. Oh, here we go. I didn't even do it right? Here, now I'm going to add Donna in now. I'm supposed to do it way better than this too. Way better. Also, I had this all queued up and everything. Here we go. Now I got it. Now I feel better with my life. There we go. Hey, Donna, how you doing, Donna?
Look, I feel honored to be back on. I mean, you kind of like putting me out there, pumping me up. That's some love. I'm feeling all love today.
Donna, you know you're one of our favorites. This is the truth. We don't lie about that. Shoot.
Hey, fans, I haven't been on with them in a while, so I'm not for sure about that.
Donna, don't do that. Don't do that, Don. Don't do that. Don, you're out. You're busy. You're out and about.
Hey, they must
see
not,
you on social media. They see you.
They must not want to be hearing the truth. But no, you're right. It's been a busy season trying to navigate through. This season. Finally got a break in week 14 because all of us probably needed that. Plus the team even more so. So this is the home stretch. This is my fun time, exciting time of the year. This is when I guess they say teams are made.
Definitely. Speaking of individual winning teams, right? Yeah, they are a winning team. Speaking of an individual who had a big break, Jonathan Allen, 21-day window to return on the roster. He was back on Wednesday. He practiced for the first time since suffering a pec injury in Week 16 against the Baltimore Ravens. What was the vibe having Allen back out there and with the players and also coaches within the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, this was like an unexpected return because everybody thought that he was finished for the season. So the atmosphere with this team, the brotherhood that they talk about, the coaching that they talk about, you could feel it out there. You could feel the energy about having him back, because this is what people don't understand. Anytime you get a player of his caliber back, that's going to be great heading into this home stretch when everybody across the NFL is banged up. So to get a John Allen back in there for this home stretch, and Coach Quinn said on Friday that he practiced well Thursday, Friday, that he did a little bit more. So it's going to be good to get him back up to speed. I talked to Coach Tapp this week also about the return of a John Allen and just this defensive line overall. Mm-hmm. He likes as far as what he's seeing from all of these guys. And so, for the coaching staff and this team, I mean, it's a good sign to have a John Allen back, a guy, like I said, that you thought was finished for the season. And with that pec injury, most of the time you are done for the season.
Oh, Donna, I appreciate your answer, but I'm gonna give you two measurements to go off of.
And you better bring it strong, Ray, because
I'm going to because when I want to know the feeling of the team when they get a John Allen back, the highest of the highs, that was the Hail Mary, right? And the lowest of the lows was the Cowboys. So about on that meter, on those metrics, where are the guys on the team and the coaches when it comes to getting such an important piece back?
I mean, I think it's just important because just putting pieces back to the puzzle. You think about this, when you have a missing piece of the puzzle gone, and this defensive line has played well, since John Allen was hurt. They were able to keep things together. But the run defense was an Achilles heel still that they really needed to get better. As Coach Witt told me this week when I asked him about how did he see the defensive line. And, the last couple of weeks they've gone up against running teams with good running backs, and they're going to face that again with the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley. That is a monster in itself. So, they kept him there. People don't realize they kept him in the check for the most part that first time around until the second half when he had that, I think, 39-yard or 29-yard bust. But overall, they did keep him in check. So the excitement is big because this is a young team. That's what people have to realize. This is a young team, a lot of young player on that defensive front. And when you get a John Allen back, whatever way that he's able to contribute, the leadership and all of that, it's key, to have a guy back. That's almost like any sports that you play. Let's just go to basketball. When you lose a Steph Curry and he's back in the lineup, that is key in whatever way that he can contribute to the team, whether he's in there full-time, part-time, or all that. It's right now and it's key. And a lot of these players don't know what it means to be at this stage of the game. You talk about Jalen Daniels, who hasn't been there for a whole NFL season. And just the rookies overall, for them to navigate after 14 weeks, their season is pretty much over. Daniels talked about that this week about, at this time they may have been playing a bowl game, but it would have been a long break in between that. And like the long answer, I know John Allen is so important to be back in this lineup, whatever way they're going to use him, and they haven't decided that yet. The chemistry, they may be able to bring him in at different points because the chemistry right now between some of these guys is working. So you don't want to disrupt that either. So you bring John Allen back, maybe not as a starter or whenever you bring him back, but you don't want to mess up the chemistry right now.
Paul has a question for you, Donna.
Paul be stealing our production notes because this was the next question anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's a question. What game do you think Jonathan Allen will return?
Yeah, I think that they have to wait and see exactly because, when you've been out for a long stretch, conditioning, getting back in football shape is key. So you're not going to just throw him back in there, to start a game next week, even if you've seen him in practice this week. We know what we seen in the kicker a couple of weeks ago when they brought him back and he wasn't, even though he was kicking during the week, he wasn't 100% come game time. So I think you gradually work John Allen back in. As the coaches told us this week, they don't know what that game will be. Whether it definitely won't be this week, but as far as maybe in the next couple of weeks and so forth, they've got 3 weeks to go. So it's a question mark. I think that they're going to gradually see where he's at and, practice wise, get a couple more games, practices in next week, being that it's a Christmas holiday and they still got, 2 big games still to play. So it's a question mark. So I don't have that answer yet, but when I do, I would definitely pass it on. But right now, it was good just to see him in practice, to be able to go up with those guys and getting his feet back. What they say, his feet back under the ground.
Definitely, because they've already been put out there. He's not playing today. I know a lot of folks he's not playing today. He's not playing Sunday. Excuse me. He's not playing Sunday.
And why would you put him in on Sunday when he just got back? Not in a magnitude of this game where you've already been working your game plan in even last week into this week when they watched film. And I think the coaches were, kind of like surprised that he was able to get back this quick. But I think that he's been able to be around the team the last couple of weeks. He's been at games and so forth, maybe, the last 3 or so weeks. And so he's basically being back around the team a lot. So I think that he worked hard to get back to this point. And that's what I like about the attitude of players. Some people would have put it up on the shelf and they would have been done for the season and would not even try to work hard to get back. And the fact that he's tried to put in the work to get back, it's to this staff and everything to get him back, and just John Allen himself.
So do you feel like, because I've always before John Allen was like hurt, before he got hurt, a lot of people were some folks, fans were negative about him and whatnot. But do you feel like during this stretch of games without John Allen, folks have taken John Allen for granted in terms of the value he's had for this football team?
No, I don't think that they've taken him for granted, because I think at stretches this defensive line did not play well. I mean, sometimes I think that him and Payne don't complement each other as much as some of the newer guys and not taking anything away from them, but I think that they've seen what other people can do, because this is the thing about this organization. They're building this team for the future. So to get Johnny Newton in there, to see what they've got there and some of the other guys, and you don't want to lose a John Allen, but to see some of the other guys. And this is the thing that the coaches said from day one. We're going to coach these guys up, not looking at the starters to say, oh, you know how we look at, oh, he's a starter, he's the number one starter, you're the second, third. They didn't look at it that way. They looked at it as, we're coaching all of these guys up, that if anybody goes down, the next person can jump in right away. And that's really what you've seen in this. And talking to Daryl Tapp this past week, he talked about the growth of some of these guys on the defensive line. And Armstrong is one guy that really has stepped up and played well. Dante Fowler, you've seen him play well, the stretches. And sometimes they said that you don't always see the quality of the play in the stats, but it's there on the field. And so, no, I think that that people haven't taken Jonathan Allen for granted. It's just that it's the next guy up when someone goes down, and they know what they've got in John Allen. He's got the credentials, already for people to know what John Allen can do. And then to come back off of an injury, that's not an easy injury to come off. So you got to be careful that even putting him in a game, whether it's next week or the week after, you got to be careful that you don't end up re-injuring that injury.
Yeah, it's not an easy injury. Just for him to come out there and just try to for the stretch run, we'll see how he looks, because it's not going to be. It's definitely not an easy injury to. You know what I mean? It's definitely not going to be. Definitely not the injury to kind of like play with. But Donna, we got to talk about this game. The game that everybody wants to talk about is the Eagles game Sunday. The Commanders take on the NFC East first place squad in the Philadelphia Eagles in the first matchup. Washington fell to the Eagles 26-18 on Thursday Night Football. What has been the main message from players and coaches about this upcoming game?
really focusing on the little details because they, talking to some of the defensive players and the offensive players this week, they felt like the game got away from them with the little details that you look at because, and then they talked about finishing games, 60 minutes of ball. That's what they talked about because sometimes with this team, they play for 3 quarters and the fourth quarter comes and it's almost like they're in a fight. They said that they don't want to end up in a fight, because of mistakes. They said that they've got to clean up. Last week they gave up 8 sacks, on offense, and then they had 9 penalties. And they know that against an Eagles team that has been red hot, winners of the last 10 games, and it seems like they just get better each week. That this Commanders team knows that they can't have any trip ups. They can't get out there and have slow starts. And we know the Eagles, when you look at the Eagles, number 1 defense, almost in every category, number 1 defense totally. And then I think against the pass, they're number 1 rushing. They're right up there at the top. So they only give up 100 and some, a little over 100 and some yards on the ground. So the Commanders know that they must be able to run the game. And because the front of the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, as Coach told me, those are some monsters up there. I mean, they are physical, and the Commanders have to match that same physicalness, on the offensive line. And this is going to be a big task for the offensive line and the defensive line. And I say that December ball is won in the trenches. This game is going to be won in the trenches. I don't care about who's not there. A.J. Brown nursing a little knee injury or whatever. He's one player, but it's up front that this team must be able to really be solid on their blocking, in their protection. And, unlike last week when they had some hiccups in the second half, Philadelphia is a whole different ball game. Throw out the division and all of that because divisional games are played much different. Ask Pittsburgh and the Ravens who play on Saturday. When you play divisional games, it doesn't matter about who your record is. Ask the Commanders when they lost to Dallas earlier on. But don't
remind me.
Hey, but you know what? It is what it is. And guess what? Had they won that game, then they wouldn't be trying to, finish these games up and needing all these wins because they would have had that one. And this is the reason why this game is so important. You got other people right behind the Commanders are in 7th place, last playoff spot. You have other teams that's right there breathing down on their neck heavier. So the key message this week is they have to be able to finish games and they have to be attentive to those little details. And guys, make no bones about it, that the Philadelphia Eagles did a good job with Jayden Daniels in the first part of that game, but he started getting, comfortable and broke out. And with the pressure that he's going to be under, the key thing is that this offensive line has to play the game of their life, I think, and they've got to be able to run the ball against a stingy Eagles team that does not give up that much. And even in the passing game, but not to take away from the Commanders' strengths too, because when you look at them on defense, they're right up there at the top, in some of the categories too, as far as the run, pass, and all of that. Total defense, I think they're number 11. So they're up there to be able to deal with the Eagles and come at them. But it's got to be a fast start. Can't be this catch up stuff. Kingsbury has to call a solid game, and he talked about that a little bit the first time around. He didn't call such a great game. That's what they say all the time, but you hear that all the time. You're like, okay, but yeah. So yeah, but in truth, yes, you do have to call a great game. So everybody in this Commanders organization have to be on their P's and Q's this week. It's going to be a cold game, so everybody that gets out quick is going to get on that board. So I think how the Commanders start off this game is going to be so key on the offense, but it's going to be won in the trenches. I'm telling you this.
Yeah, I mean, they got one of the best backs in football in Saquon. But back to something you did say in terms of, I do want to put a question, something that Mike put out there in terms of the tight end position. Mike said, Donna, who is the new 6'7" tight end we picked up?
Yeah, I mean that he's pretty good. I can't recall his name right now. We were looking at him this week. We said, "Who's that big guy over there?" But but I think that you're gonna. I mean, this guy is coming on. They just signed him, so I think that where you're gonna see Ben Sinnott a little bit more this week, because this is a guy that we've seen some flashes of what he can do. But the thing that you can't take away by not having Zach in there this week and Kingsbury alluded to this a little bit, is his blocking down there in the red zone and what he does there. And I'm not for sure if Ben Sinnott is that same guy. So Bates, he was sick this past week. So John Bates is going to be key also. So the tight end position is beat up right now. I mean, they're going to have to rely on some of those younger guys stepping up and blocking, because the blocking part of this week for the tight ends helping out is going to be key. And I don't know if you all noticed that Brian Robinson, if you really watched him over the weeks, his blocking has been really
it's been amazing.
Great.
It's been amazing.
Because picking up the blocks and protecting Jaden, and Jaden is going to help out some too, because of the fact that he can get away and his running abilities and all that. But I think the tight end position is going to be so vital this week, and to have Zach out against an Eagles team, Ben Sinnott and Bates are going to have to really step up. And the new guy, I don't know about how much play time he's going to get this week, but those other two guys are going to have to be key. And then they may bring an extra running back in to help out there too.
Yeah, I want something that Paul said. I'm surprised. I was surprised at not giving Cole Turner an opportunity, since, I mean, and Zach Ertz has been out there in practice, so we don't know if he's going to be able to play on Sunday. But it's a good sign he's out there in practice. But I was just surprised at not, like, Cole Turner not getting the opportunity or like the look if Zach Ertz goes down. Is that possible though? Is that a possibility?
I don't know. His name hasn't come up because
I'm about to ask. Okay, so that's
you haven't seen a lot of him all this season, so I'm not for sure. I mean, I see him in practice. I see him going through, drills and so forth. But against the team, I'm only able to see just the little bit of the warm ups. But I haven't really seen him be a guy that they said, "Oh, he's the next guy up," and we got that because they signed another guy. Because you would have thought, you would have brought up a Cole Turner that has been in this offense, but it's something maybe that they're not seeing as far as his pass blocking. They need a guy that can pass block, not just to go out there and catch and all that. So I'm not for sure how much you may see of Cole Turner this week, but I think it's going to be more so on a Ben Sinnott and John Bates that they're really looking, and hopefully Bates will be, over his sickness. And Jeremy Chin, I saw him out there practicing, was in the concussion protocol. So I think his chances of him playing is greater than Zach Ertz playing.
Okay, really? Okay, so do you think his chances are better than Ertz? Chin?
Yeah,
from what you saw. From what I saw of Jeremy
going through passing drills out there on the field by himself. And, most of the time they don't go through all of that. But I think that the chances of seeing him is greater than seeing Zach. And if not, we asked about that. If a Jeremy Chin is not playing, who's next man up? So I think that, nobody, I mean, what Jeremy Chin has done this year, his play has been exceptional. Well, that you don't want to lose him. You want to have him back in there. But I think the defense secondary has been pretty good with the guys that has been inserted. And you saw a lot more of some of the other guys that stepped up, when he went down last week.
So actually, when Paul said something, I want your comments on the comment that B-Rob, you mentioned B-Rob, the comment that B-Rob said. He said, we were the better team last time. Do you agree that? Do you believe that? Do you believe they were the better team? That's one. Or what were your thoughts on him just saying that? Let me put it that way. What were your thoughts on him just saying that?
I mean, I hate to give I like his confidence. If that's what he believes, that's what he believes. But in the same breath, I don't give a team that's won 10 straight games and at the top of the division any more fuel to get me. Or they don't really need any more fuel, because the Eagles, they can clinch the division with a win this week. And so I'm just looking at that whether we were the better team or not, you didn't win the game still.
Facts.
So, but I like his confidence because if he felt that they were the better team in areas that they shot themselves in the foot. And you think about this, Washington, the first time around, had the opportunity towards the end to win that game or tie it up. So it wasn't like the Eagles blew them out of the game. And I think that they played some of their better ball against the Eagles. But I'm about a Coach Gibbs saying he remember Dexter Manley always fueled the fire with Dallas with what he said. But I'm from the thing of just go out there and play, and let's not fuel the fire with a team that don't need to have any more gasoline thrown on it.
I hear you. No, I hear you. So speaking of the game, who for this team needs to step up for the Commanders against the Eagles? Who needs to step up? Who needs to have a good showing?
Goes back to the defensive offensive line because it's going to be one right there. And I think that the running game last week, kind of like, they got off to a pretty good start, but you can't have a Brian Robinson. I like them to put the ball in his hands a little bit more. He had 21 carries, but only 60 some yards. And then Jayden had 11 carries for 60 some yards. So you can't have your quarterback almost making the most yardage. But I think that the running game has to be tops, rather with B-Rob, with the other guys, all of those guys, I think in the running. But I think that it's going to be the offensive and defensive line that has to have big games, because I think if they set the tone, everything else falls into place. As far as that, and as Coach Witt said, they've got to win the turnover battle from there. So it's in the trenches that this game is going to set up everything.
I do have a question before I let Ray ask the next one. You did talk about Biotish, and he missed last week. Is he going to be ready for this game?
Yeah,
they need him.
Yeah. Oh, he was missing because they talked about why he is so key because of not just being just the center, but what he does as being the center, the way he pulls, the way he moves. He's almost like the quarterback outside of Jayden Daniels. And that's the reason why he is important. But I talked to him on Thursday, interviewed him. I think he'll be ready to go. He looked much better. He looked like he was well over whatever he what's going on with his body. But some other linemen, Cosby and all of them, I think that they were somewhat sick. But as of Friday, everybody, there was nobody out that was not going to play. So everybody is projected to play this week, outside of not knowing about Chin and Zach. But everybody else, I think, is going to be playing this week, and it's going to be so key for everybody to be on that field.
Oh man, I'm telling you, you know what? I got a lot of mixed emotions going on, Donna, because I got my fan hat on too. I think Washington wins this game. I really believe that from sort of a professional standpoint. From the fan standpoint, my Falcons come to town the week after, so it will be interesting if they haven't clinched yet, and that game might mean something. That'll make it fun. And I need the Cowboys to win too, by the way. I need to beat the Bucks. But at this stage,
did he say his Falcons? Did he say his Falcons?
Yeah, he said his Falcons.
Flex that game, and now the Falcons got a new QB behind the center too.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast though. But at this stage of the season, Donna, we all know this team has overachieved. I mean, beyond, but the expectations are high because of how they've shown that they can beat and compete against some of the top teams in the league. I mean, they competed against the Ravens. They had the Steelers really competed, like you said, against this Philly team. But Saquon's numbers at the end of that game did look good. I have it here in front of me. 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. What are they going to do to contain Saquon? That's one of the main, of course, focal points coming into this week.
Yeah, and I saw something in the chat as far as will KJ play this week, the receiver that the Commanders just got last week. I think that you may see some play time in him this week because outside of Terry last week that was open all the time, The other receivers somewhat got lost, and I mean, Diami had some balls caught and everything, but you've got to have the other receivers to step up to this week. So hopefully KJ, told me last week he was picking up a lot of things, and you may see him. And that's a big hit for this Commanders team right now by not having Noah Brown. He was so key for that offense. And Ray, you talked about, just Saquon Barkley. Good. I mean, he is Saquon Barkley. I think everybody has had problems with him this year because he's having an all-pro type year. And the Giants need to go and have surgery, brain surgery, forever letting him go because how do you let a player of his caliber get out of
crazy, Donna, it's crazy.
Their camp? But I mean that it's going to be tough. I think that the players, I asked them, and everybody's asked them this week, what do you do in stopping a Saquon Barkley? You're not going to stop him all the time and whatever, because he's going to wear you down after a while. And they said that too, come the fourth quarter. And Wally asks about, as far as key things is that you can't get wore down in the fourth quarter when, it's going to be even more important right there. So I think with him is you've got to, really tackle him. You can't let him get outside. He's great with, cutting back. And I think that up front that you got to put bodies on him. It's almost like when you're guarding somebody in basketball, they said, put your body on them and make sure that you know where they're at all the time. That's pretty much what they've got to do with him, is that they can't let him get into the secondary because that's going to be dangerous. The dangerous part about him too, running and a passer. So you got to worry about him being a receiver also out of the backfield. But they contain whatever they did to contain him that first time around, as far as just contain. It's the containment part about Saquon. With any runner, you got to contain that. And then the key thing up front, we're not talking about game is won in the trench. You got to make sure that your gap control is key right there. Because if they're winning the battle up front, he's going to have a big game. Yeah. So those guys up front have to be able to block. So that's one key way to contain him, is you're blocking up front and making sure that he doesn't get through any of those seams, those wide open holes that they open up. That's where the defensive line is going to come in big as far as trying to contain him. And then because he gets out there, it's off to the races, because we know what he can do. Because if he ain't running, he's hurtling over you.
Yeah, he's athletic. And what Paul is saying is put 8 in the box. There hurts to be accurate. I think that's a sentiment that many Washington fans agree with, in part because you got Marshawn Lattimore, who is probably a better option for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith in this game. So what are your thoughts about how Marshawn Lattimore can grow and his contributions to this team? He looked decent in his first game against his old squad, even though as a team they didn't close well, but he played well. What are your expectations? What's the thoughts? What's the vibes around the building with having a top corner now healthy on the field?
Well, that is like a big help for this Commanders to get him back at this stage of the game. A shutdown corner like him. He didn't get any targets last week. So I think this is going to be the true test this week against the Philadelphia Eagles, with a Jalen Hurts in there that that's going to go downfield and so forth. But I think that his play, you're going to be able to really see why the Commanders picked him up, because he's going to get targeted this week. You can believe that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he will.
Mikey Sanders, but this is the thing that you like. Mikey Sanders, still, that we don't even mention him, he has played solid ball. Yeah. I mean, he got his second pick last week, and he read that play, the play that he got the interception on. He talked about reading that play and understanding what was going on and just baiting that a young guy, a rookie, saying that he's baiting a person. I mean, that's something that a veteran cornerback does. Yeah. And I think Lattimore on the other side is so key for this Commanders, playing a team like the Eagles, where they got A.J. Brown, whatever, even if he's not 100%. And then you got Devontae Smith, and then you got Dallas Garter, their tight end.
He may not play though. I heard he may not play. Goddard might not play. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
He
So,
may not
but
play.
so as they say, next person up. Those other two I mentioned is enough. So the secondary of this Commanders team just got much better, and Lattimore. Some of the top, he didn't even. Kansas City wanted him, and another team wanted him, and he picked the Commanders to come to. So I'm glad about that too. But I think having him is going to be a big help for this defense.
No, I do. It's crazy because I'm glad you mentioned Mikey, because Mikey had a good showing against the Eagles on Thursday night. And he had a bunch of pass breakups against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So I do think if you're a young player, you're a rookie, you're not going to be threatened because they were trying to attack you and you held your own against them. And this is without Marshawn Lattimore. So now you have Marshawn Lattimore out there to help you, as an individual, as a blanket. And now that people can even shade more coverage on your side just to help you out just in case. I just feel like there's more confidence for him to even play better. I just think you thought the first game from Mikey was good. I think the second game may be even a lot better with Lattimore. I think he'll be even better because of it. So yeah, to your point,
people can't cheat. And then I mentioned
yeah.
I couldn't think of his name, but Derek Forrest is getting a little more play.
He is. He got burned a lot of burn last time.
Yeah. So he's a player that probably will play if Jeremy Chin can't go. Derek Forrest, we know that Derek Forrest can play. I mean, this guy was a starter. It's not like he lost ground. It was just a lot of people in front of him that he didn't get that play time. But Coach Witt talked about this week that he had got in a little bit more in the last few games and everything. So Derek Forrest, having him there, a veteran guy that knows the system, that if Jeremy Chin can't go, you got him out there too. So I think this Commanders defense is kind of like set, but the key thing is, number one thing is stopping the run.
Definitely.
Stopping the run is an area that they've gotten better in the last probably 4 games or so, because, you've been going up against teams that have great runners. And I'm not saying that Saquon Barkley is not going to get some yardage, but you just hope that you contain him enough that he does not hurt you in this game.
I mean, what does Donna Hopkins want for Christmas?
Go ahead.
You want a great defensive effort, or you want a Jaden Daniels explosion, and they just outduel the Eagles and hope it doesn't come down to the kicking game.
Hey, I'm greedy. I want the Jaden Daniels breakout, and I want the defense to explode too. I'm a little bit of both. You know what?
You expensive.
You're expensive during Christmas. You're expensive right now. You're really expensive right now.
But Ray, you mentioned something that was so key that we haven't even talked about is the kicking game, which right now, when you look across the NFL, this has been a nightmare for the special teams kicking games, not just with Washington, but across the NFL. Look at Baltimore up the street. Has got one of the all-pro kickers, and he's been having a dreadful season. Yeah. And let me tell you this, in December, it comes down sometimes to special teams field goals. And Washington has had the a misfortune of the last probably 3 games or so that they've had injuries with the main kicker that they had, brought in another one. He gets hurt. So that kicking game is a big question mark. That's where I think that if you're going to have any concern more so for this game, it's going to be in the kicking game, special teams. So it's cold out there. The ground is hard. And I talked to Tressway this past week too, just about, just the kicking game and how he sees that. But it's, you just got to wait and see, because we're holding our breath. I mean, I think I hold my breath every time he goes up and say, that's the reason why sometimes if it's not going well, you're going to see this Commanders team going for it on 4th down. And I don't think it's, you got to be able to put the ball through the uprights, at least from 45 and up. And that's going to be key. It may come down to field goals, and I'm not feeling good about that right now.
I gotta read this. This is hilarious. Football is hilarious. I'm just going. I just want you to just make me laugh.
Man alone.
Tell Coach Witt that the fans are asking, please don't play 25 this game at all.
And you know what? He won't have to if Lattimore and all those guys and everything. But you know what? I talked to some personnel earlier, probably mid that way through the season. And I'm not going to tell my source, but
don't tell your source. Don't do it.
I was asking about him, and they like him, but they said that he's got to learn how to react. His reaction, as far as he's always reaching and everything, he's got to be more balanced as far as not reach. Because if you look at Mikey Sanders still and Lattimore and some of the other corners across the NFL, it's not like they're reaching, because most of the time when you're reaching, you're going to be off balance.
Yeah.
And you're going to get called for those. So if you play the ball, and they talked about making sure that you play the ball and that you're not, looking at the player, but you're playing the ball. And I think that's where he gets into trouble maybe sometimes, is that you're looking at the receiver, and most of the time you may not know where the ball is. So, and then you're reaching and trying to get your balance back. But they say he's smart, but just working on some of the technical parts of the game.
Yeah. Something Danny said, 25 is actually good in special teams. He was good in special teams and kickoff coverage. He was good. He was good in special teams.
Hey, look at this. At this stage of the game, you put players in everywhere to help this team. Brother, if they're not playing in their position as cornerbacks or wide receiver or any of those things, you put them on that special teams, because the special teams unit is on the kicking game has been really good. But back to the receivers. Luke McCaffrey, he's disappeared from the offense. The first part of the year, you saw him with some big catches. I think that he has to be able to step up. And, De'Ami Brown, had some good plays last week, but it can't be one or two, but it's got to be, across the board that you're seeing that those receivers were like Terry getting open. And like I said, the Philadelphia Eagles have good corners. They're gonna press you up front. You're gonna have to be able to get loose and win the battles. And I think that's where you're gonna hope to see improvement from last week to this week, is the receivers stepping up, because Jayton's gonna be under distress, and that they have to be able to get open and getting on the scoreboard early is going to be key too. And you asked me, Wally, the key thing is keeping Philadelphia offense off the field a lot.
That's big.
Because last week the Commanders should not even been a hard game, because they had the ball for over 40 minutes to their 19.
I'm still mad at that game, Donna. You have no idea.
Hey,
I'm
but you
trying
know
to get over
what?
that game.
A win is a win.
I mean, for others, I don't know. I just look at it. I'm over it now. But that day, I was not a fan of that win. I was not.
Look, I had walked downstairs because I couldn't take it. I couldn't even look at it, because I'm thinking like, no way y'all gonna let them come back and win. And no way should have come down to
that
second, although holding the clock for 9 seconds.
Yeah, I know, but it even got to that though, Don.
Exactly, because that's what the players said. It should never have gotten to that. You got the ball for 40-some minutes. It should not, and then you come out and scored 20 plus points, and then you let them play catch up in the second half. That cannot happen against a Philadelphia team that's playing lights out ball right now. I mean, I think the Eagles are probably the best team in the NFL right now, the way they're playing, even more so than Kansas City. But I got to give it to the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen and the way he's playing. He's having an all-pro year too. But Ray, I'll leave you alone until next week, since you're like your Eagles, your Falcons coming to town, who's got to win too, because you know what? They're trying to get on the scoreboard. They'd have made that game at 8:20, and even more. But this is the game that the Commanders really have to win right now, because then you put pressure on yourself for the next 2 weeks, hoping to get into the playoffs, where if you take care of business each week, you're not having to worry about that. And that's my thing, is I don't care about the Falcons next week. I don't care about Dallas the week after. This is the game that they've got to show that they can be with the heavyweights, because the heavyweight is coming to town.
Yep. I agree. I agree, Donna. I just said for fun, as a fan, I would love to see him lose.
Yeah.
and then have to earn it in the cold against the Falcons next week. The Falcons aren't very good, so the Falcons aren't in the discussion. But I think the Commanders, the way they started the season, they have earned their right to be in this position. Really, they probably should be a little bit further ahead.
Really, for real.
Honestly, and I thought that they would. We all thought on this show and other shows, and you did too. They would get the NFC East crown. It looked like the Eagles were a mess early on.
Mhm.
So while they fumbled the bag a little bit, they now have an opportunity to seize this moment and against a foe that, well, they predicted Philly would win a division. Start the season, many did, because nobody really had faith that the Commanders could be in this position. Now you at home too, and this home crowd has been amazing so far in comparison to previous seasons. I think this is one of the best wins you could get this season. Real talk.
Oh, I think that a win like this against a divisional opponent and with a team that's playing the way Philadelphia, you get this win, it builds confidence. I mean, this is when in December, getting ready to go into the playoffs and everything, you build on each game and a game. So if the Commanders can be clicking on all cylinders this week and not have some of the misfortunes or the misclues that they had last week, having some of the key guys back, having the leadership with the Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu and all of those guys that are going to rally the troops and the coaching staff that they have in place. This is such a pivotal game for this team in winning and moving on a little bit further. But against the Philadelphia Eagles, who, at the beginning, like you said, they were fighting coaches and the quarterback, and then just a week ago, A.J. Brown and Hurts, and then it's going on. But they'd have kissed and made up, because you don't have to like each other. You can fuss about whatever, but when it comes to game time, it doesn't matter what happened during the course of the week or whatever. It's about winning, a winning football formula. And, the way they're coached up there is phenomenal, that, they turn things around. They look like they were tripping over their own feet to start the season. You're like, what happened to Philly? What's going on with Philly? But guess what? They turned that around quickly. And, the Commanders too, nobody gave them a chance at the beginning of the season, thinking that this was a rebuilding year. Nobody foresaw. I mean, because it's hard, and being honest, to say, how this team gonna, rookie quarterback, other pieces still need to be put in place, an offensive line that has surpassed what I thought, because I thought that was one of the areas that they needed a lot of help, but they started to gel and come together, and I think the coaching staff has helped that. And I think that Adams Peters in that front office, that when people go down, they just bring in other people that's being able, and people are wanting to come to Washington. So what Washington has done, they, like you said, Ray, they surpassed all of our expectations with the 9 wins, and anything extra is just bonus points. But I think this Commanders team, that you have to really look at the fact that they have some important pieces in place, and they can go toe to toe, I think, with anybody if they play their game. They can't have the mistakes. That's just like anybody. You can't have the mistakes, but even more with this team being a young team, that in a big moment like this, you can't act like it's a big moment. You just have to go out there and just play your ball, because sometimes if you play within the moment, then it could be too big for you. So like the players say, it's just another game, but hey, that is another game that you got to win if you want to get into that playoffs. So I think that the players told me this week that it's not so much about Philadelphia, it's about what they do as a team. And I think that is important, because they have to play their game. Philadelphia is Philadelphia, but if they play their game, they can come out with winning this game. They can hang with Philly, but it's got to be mistake-free ball.
You're going to make mistakes, but I think you got to set the tone. Like, you can't have a repeat performance like you did against Dallas. Come out, hit them in the mouth. I think that's the key in this divisional game, where, again, this is the top dog, and you want to hit the bully in the mouth early. And I think Sirianni is somebody who you want to make him second guess himself. He takes some gambles that you can definitely capitalize on, but you got to do it from the opening kick. That's the thing. If you don't,
the other thing that people don't realize is that when they played the Philadelphia Eagles the first time around, they had a few days to get ready to play. the Eagles. So to put your game plan together, to put all the pieces together, you may have not been able to do that. And I think that's what Kingsbury talked about this week when I asked him a question about, playing the Eagles the second time around. You've had a whole week to prepare for the Eagles, which you didn't have that the last time. So I think that's going to be key this week, is that the preparation and the time that they had to be able to really put the pieces together for this game. Unlike the first time around, that's going to be the difference too, with what we probably see. But you got to jump on them early, like you said, Ray. And I think that if you set the tone early, and then again, let's go 60 minutes of ball. You can't have any let-ups in the fourth quarter. Can't get lost in space in the fourth quarter, because the game is going to come down, I think, to the very end. And because both teams need this game. Philadelphia can afford to lose it, but who wants to lose a game when you can clinch the division? So Washington has to be able to be the Muhammad Ali in this match and jump on them with the knockout punch early.
So, Don, I'm gonna ask you this question. Why? And you answer which way you need to answer it. Washington beats the Eagles if. Finish your state.
Washington will beat the Eagles if in the trenches that they can pass, run, block, and on the other end too. So if they can control the line of scrimmage.
So all right. So Curly said with 6 sacks, and they can win the game. What else do we have? I think that's about it from that one. But yeah, I'm with that, Don. I do think they control the line of scrimmage.
I think that it against a team looking at Philadelphia, what they do, looking at that defensive line and that offensive line, they are huge on the offensive line. And if the Commanders' offensive line and defensive line can control the line of scrimmage and everything, I think that's where this is going to make the difference. Secondary players, position players like the running back and the wide receivers, secondary, and all that. Games are won in the trenches in December. I mean, if you have a good offensive line, ask Philly. If you have a good defensive line, ask Philly. You win games that way. So I think that is going to be the thing. If they can control that line of scrimmage, Washington can win this game.
No, I agree. Danny said Washington needs to win the turnover battle plus 2 would be great.
Win the turnover battle, and then also turn against Philadelphia. Let me just say this: can't win with just field goals. When you get down in that red zone, you got to be able to punch it in. So if Washington get in the red zone, if you ask me that question, if they're getting that red zone, they got to put 7 on the board and not 3, because 3 points. 3 points is 3 points. But 7 points is going to get you ahead of the leaderboard a lot quicker.
George says stick with the run even if it's not working early.
You got to stick with it, because if you become one-dimensional with Philadelphia, you're not going to win. Because the thing about it is they're going to really cheat if you're not able to run that ball. And Jaden is going to be under a lot more stress if they're not able to run the ball. So they have to establish the run early on. Beginning of the game, you got to establish the run. And you got to be in, the other thing, Wally, is that they got to be in third down and short. They can't be in third down and long against Philadelphia. That just puts too much stress on them too. So I think that's the other thing, is they in third down, it's got to be third and short.
Hey, Don, this has been great info. Always great talking to you, Don. Before I let you go, man, how can folks catch you on social media? Check your Commander show on TV and also catch your content online. How can folks do all that?
Yeah, they can catch the content on YouTube. If you can't get Mid-Atlantic Sportsnet, that comes on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10:30 p.m. You can catch it tonight at 10:30 and Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. If you can't get Masson, you can also catch it on our YouTube channel. We post all the shows up there, Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. And then also our podcast, if you have a little bit more on the Commanders, a little spinoff of the show, you can catch that on our YouTube channel in the minute. And then you can catch me on all the social media platforms. Instagram is DJ Hop.
Yeah, DJ Hop. You're right.
Instagram
32. I got
Donna
32.
Hopkins. Just put
32.
DJ Hop 32.
Yeah, we both Magic fans. I don't know why you don't even remember 32.
Yeah, DJ Hop 32 on Instagram, and then X and Facebook is Donna Hopkins.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know why you remember. You're a Matt Johnson fan. I was like, what 32? We know this.
32. DJ
Enjoy
Hop.
your holiday, Donna.
Once they put the DJ Hop in, there ain't too many people doing that with that. That 32 will come up.
Yeah, that quickly. 32. You gotta have it.
Yeah,
32.
yeah. But definitely make sure to go to our, YouTube channel to give us your comments and so forth. And then in the minute, that's a weekly day update that, with all the players in interviews and so forth. Something is just coming up later in a few minutes. Probably I just posted about weekday interviews with the players. They talk a little bit more. I concentrated on the defensive side of the ball a lot more. So they give good information on. You asked me what were some key things. Check out our In the Minute podcast, because guess what? You're going to learn everything you need to hear from the players, what they need to do this coming week. So I like the confidence of the players. I mean, they don't look like they're nervous and afraid of Philadelphia, and that's what I like.
I love it, Donna. Hey, Donna, thanks again. We're gonna have you on again, Donna. So don't act like I'm trying to dodge you. I got you, Donna.
Hey, I know, Wally. I know.
I'm about to say.
Hey,
all right, I'm about to say.
Hey, fans, it has been a little drought.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right, Donna.
Hey, but you know what? I like that you bring me back when it counts the most.
Exactly. Hey, when it counts the most on the stretch run, that's what we need, the stretch run. Play all time, too. It's happening. It's all happening. It's all happening.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Always great being on with you all.
Always fun, Donna. All right, bye. Donna's awesome, man.
I got to head out with Donna.
Oh, man. I know. I'm about to let you go, but I do these like over under joints. You gotta go.
Are you gonna do it now?
Huh?
Oh, okay. All right, bro.
I'm about to do it now. Are you about to roll? You got to roll.
I'm out, bro. Hey, have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for pulling
go ahead, bro. All right, man. You can hear Ray, but you can't see him. All right, y'all. All right, let me do these over and under. Let me take this off. So we're gonna do some over or under Commander stuff real quick. Thanks, Donna. She was awesome. And y'all can answer the question too, man. Wait. Go for it on 4th and 2. Yeah, hope not. How about kick a field goal if you got it? All right, man. Ray, appreciate y'all, man. All right, hold on. So I'm gonna ask y'all the question too, since we all family out here for real. All right. Here we're going. We're gonna do some over under prop bets for the Commanders Eagles game, but it's gonna be for the Commanders. All right, y'all. Over under Terry McLaurin getting 63.5 receiving yards. He only had 10 yards in his first game, so over under. I got Terry going over. Like, that's me. I got Terry going over. Y'all got Terry under? Let me know. I got Terry. I think Terry on get back, so I think Terry about to get over 100 yards. Yeah, I don't trust our kicker. That's true. Over. All right, Paul got over. All right, you got over, Paul. I'm with that. Dan and you got over. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't trust the kicker either. All right. So Dan and Paul, y'all got over. Mike, we all got over. All right, cool. We all over. I'm over with that. I'm with that. I'm with the over as well. All right. Secondly, over or under Jayden Daniels throwing for 213.5 yards. 213.5 yards. Over or under? I'm gonna say over. I feel like Jayden looks a little more fried. He looks a little more spry. I'm gonna say Jayden goes for like 250, at least 250. I know, like, if the running 250. I think Terry gets big plays. 250. Jayden goes over. Over. We all over. All right, you got over. I think Paul over. All right, Mike, y'all over. All right, we all right. We in agreement. This is the last one, y'all. Last one. Over or under B-Rob rushing for 56.5 yards. Rushing yards. Over or under B-Rob running for 56.5 rushing yards. Over and under. I'm gonna say over. We ain't out being homers either. Like, I'm gonna say over it. Because there's no Eckler. He should go over, right? Over. All right, Mike, you got over. All right, Mike got over. Daniel over. Come on, Paul. What you got, Paul? Over. All right, we all got over. All right, bet. We all let over. All right, so we all got over. So we all good for it. All right, well, all right, I'm gonna get y'all predictions. So predictions. I'm on this good luck tip. I mean, y'all know, Mike, you're gonna hate me. So I got the Commanders losing to the Eagles 27-24 because my voodoo's been working. We're on a 2-game winning streak after that stupid loss to the Cowboys. So That would piss me off. We're on a 2-game winning streak. So I got the Commanders losing to the Eagles 24-27. Come on, Voodoo. Let's make it happen. All right, Deluxe, you got Commanders over the Eagles. All right, what's your score though, bro? What's your score? I want to know your score though. Y'all gotta give me a score. Give me a score. I got, you know what I'm saying? We already know what I'm doing, so we're gonna leave me alone. We already know what I'm doing. So I want y'all score. All right, here we go. Paul, 27-21 Washington. All right, got one from Paul. Mike, where you at? I know you were here chit-chatting, shooting the breeze. Where you at, Mike? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. 28-20 Commanders. All right, Dandon, you already out here. You was giving out predictions. I want to see y'all. There we go. Dandon. All right, here we go. Commanders winning in overtime, 33-27. KJ Osborne, game-winning touchdown. Y'all really look. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Diami time. I don't look at KJ Osborne as that dude. I don't get the infatuation, but maybe he does it. Maybe. But I think Diami. I think we all seen the improvement with Diami when he gets targets. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. I think Diami gets the one-on-one. Because I think Terry's gonna be shaded. That's how the Eagles played him last time. They shaded covered on Terry. I think this is the game Diami gets that deep pass. I think Diami gets an explosive play against the Eagles because they're going to try and line him up one-on-one with the corner, and I think Diami's going to run by him. I think the safety's going to help over on Terry, and I think that Diami's going to get that one-on-one isolated situation, and he's going to get that touchdown. So, and even if Terry goes on, even if Slade gets on Terry, I think Terry on the one-on-one with the rookie, Diami one-on-one the rookie with no safety help, I think that could be a problem. Even as I think it's Mitchell. As confident as Mitchell looked at in that game, man, he felt real good about himself. I think he can really get out. I think James Crowder will make some plays too. I think James Crowder looked really. I think he's somebody that you could tell that that Jaden can trust. You saw that in the Saints game. You know what I mean? And I want to see my man on the defense side of the ball. A guy that folks ain't really talking about, like Donna, she mentioned him a little briefly, but I think Defoe, replacing Percy Butler as that extra safety on the lineup, I think it's gonna do well for this team with Lattimore out there. So I think he just flies to the ball. He plays flies to the ball and he plays with intent. Regardless if he messes up, he plays with intent. So I like that. Yeah, Crowder is better than Brown. Which Brown? You talking about Noah or Diami? They play separate. I mean, he's a better slot receiver. I'll say that much. He's definitely Crowder is the traditional slot receiver. Danny, our tribal chief Louisville will get 2 sacks and force a fumble. This should be a Louisville game. I can see this being a Louisville game, man. The difference is that the M&M boys are. Yep, I'm telling you, I think Mikey and Marshawn, that combination could be a problem. And I think it's going to allow Quan Martin to be even better. Oh, okay. I'm with you. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I agree with you. I think Jameson's better too. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Quan Martin, I think the safety is going to be so much better because of Mikey and Lattimore. I mean, because of Lattimore, for real. I think they're going to be so much better. I think Quan is going to have those splash plays now. Because he doesn't have to now. He can just play. He don't have to really. He can play safety the way he needs to play safety. Put it that way. I'm interested to see though if Chin doesn't play and they're playing Defoe. Just because I like Chin. I think Chin's been amazing. But in terms of ball skills, I feel like that could be a little bit. I would expect a little bit more out of him in terms of ball skills. I do like. Defoe to me has better ball skills than Chin. So I do want to see with those plays that we've seen Chin he was there but wasn't able to locate the football. I would like to see Defoe in those situations if Chin can't play. If Chin can't play, I think Chin can kind of take advantage of those plays if he puts himself in that position. I think he will be able to come up with the turnover or whatnot. Because we do remember that game on Monday night where we stopped their streak when they were going undefeated. Defoe had a big game in that game. He was key for the Commanders winning that game. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets that playing time, what he can do against this Eagles team. Again, with Marshawn, I think Marshawn makes the secondary so much better. Makes it so much better. But all right, it's about time to close this show out, man. It's been dope. I appreciate y'all pulling up, man. This has been a really good show for our afternoon drive, I guess the afternoon drive type of pod. But before we jet out, hey, Sunday at 7:30, tune into our Commanders Eagles recap show with Bowie TV's Commanders reporter Candy Waller. Candy will be should be fresh back home after the game, after reporting from the game. So she'll give us the insight in terms of interviews, locker room stuff, what happened after the game. So you can see that. We'll be streaming live. We'll be streaming live on YouTube, our YouTube, X, IG, and Facebook accounts. So make sure you pull up to that. It will also be streaming on Bowie TV's YouTube channel as well. So make sure if you're not on the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel, you go over to Bowie TV and also check out that recap show on Bowie TV. You can subscribe to our podcast, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Also follow us on X at Urban Sports Scene, IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene, and like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Hey, make sure if you're on here right now on our Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel for the first time, hit that red subscribe button. Also like this video and comment, man. If you comment on the video, it does well for our Commanders algorithm. So make sure you comment, subscribe, and whatnot. Keep the content flowing so we can get multiple people out here who can check us out. What we got, man? Thank you, Danny. I appreciate you too, bro. Thank you. Oh yeah, the new time is good. Thanks, Paul. I think so too, man. I think I'm gonna try to do like a pregame show on a Friday. I think it works well. And man, I hope we do clinch, bro. That's why I'm trying to do this voodoo type thing. You know what I'm saying, Paul? I'm trying to make this thing work, bro. Oh, Hurts will try Lattimore. I think so. If he try that, well, I'm gonna be real. And before I end the show out, I'm gonna be real. Hurts will try if Lattimore's gonna be on either Brown or Smith. He's gonna try because he's gonna try one. He's gonna try Lattimore. All he throws is to those receivers. He'll force it to those receivers. He ain't the type of quarterback that try to spreads the ball around. It typically goes to either Smith or Brown. So he is going to try Lattimore. And the cool thing about Lattimore, he is a good cornerback. He's a very good cornerback when he takes on physical wide receivers. And we know Brown is a very physical wide receiver. I can't wait to the Yeah, they didn't work last time. That didn't work last time either. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I feel like this is a good situation for the Commanders. Like, I think, like, he's gonna throw at Lattimore, and he's gonna try to force it. I mean, he's gonna try to force it. That's what he does. He forces the ball to those two individuals. And Mikey, you saw with Mikey. Mikey was there for the challenge. So I think it's going to be like the key is to stop Saquon. That's it. Like, the key is to stop Saquon. They stop Saquon, it's going to be a different animal. That's what it is. If they can stop Saquon, I guarantee Washington wins the football game. Well, let me say not stop. If they can contain Saquon Barkley, I can guarantee Washington wins the football game. I guarantee it. And say Jalen Hurts, go try to throw for 300 yards. I think it'll work out. And I would look at what Tampa Bay does to Jalen Hurts. They give him no respect. If they play the Eagles like how Tampa plays, like pretty much sell out and say, Jalen, you beat us. Jalen Hurts, you beat us because we're not going to let Saquon beat us. Then I feel like, that's the game plan they should have. Exactly. Because we got the outside on lock. I agree. I feel like we can, man. It's potential. Like, I feel like this is probably one of the best cornerback tandems we've had in a long time. So I'm with you, Paul. Definitely with you. All right, man. Also, y'all can check us out on our website, which is www.urbansportscene.com as well. So you can go ahead and check our podcast out there. You can just, like I mentioned earlier, you can subscribe on the podcast platforms as well. All right, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, being locked in with us. Anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. You dig? Deuces. I'm out.
Peace.